Okay, today we are playing a game on the Temple of Anubis. The average SR of this game was 3,412, and we will be playing D.Va the entire way through. And our current team composition is D.Va, Winston, Genji, Junkrat, Mercy, and Lucio. This was, I believe, post-Mercy nerf? It should have been, but I've said that before and been wrong, so, I mean, we'll see. We are also on the console today, by the way, the PS4, so consider yourself forewarned. Now, in today's email, we have several questions, so we're going to be here for a while answering these, probably. So, first question, my self-destructs. Whenever I use them to initiate get kills, never seem to get any picks. I attribute this to my opponents knowing how to dodge the bombs better, but I want to be able to get more picks than none most of the time. Sometimes my games go with 0 self-destruct kills, which makes me wonder how to use it effectively. Is it my positioning? How can I improve? If you're just throwing it out there to try and get kills, you're basically just rolling a dice to see if you get any kills. Sometimes you're going to turn up 6 kills, and sometimes you're going to turn up 0 kills. It's going to depend on the moment in question. Because, especially on a map like Anubis, where there are a lot of corners to hide behind, and that's discounting any shields that your team might also have as well to block line of sight. So, it's very difficult to use self-destruct to initiate and get kills. The best use for self-destruct is usually zoning, because it's very easy to kill an enemy team's momentum by just throwing down the ultimate in front of them, because, well, it didn't matter if Lucio used the sound barrier and we wanted to go in right there and then, because now D.Va's self-destruct is in our path and we can't get past that, so kind of fucks with it. So usually it's used for zoning. The way to use it more aggressively is to combo it with other ultimates. It's very rarely going to do anything by itself. So, very textbook, straightforward example. Reinhardt's on your team. He's got Earth Shatter. You throw self-destruct behind their team. Makes the easiest Earth Shatter in the world for your Reinhardt. Similarly, you've got like Soldier who wants to use Tac Visor, throw your ult on the other side of them, and now there's 2 very threatening things happening on either side of them, and they have to react very quickly. You can just, you can throw it in there just, like, to try and gain some, ground as well, because you'll force the enemy team to back up, basically, or play more passively while the explosion is happening. But your team has to actually be on the same page as you. That's like, alright, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go in right now to capitalize off of this, brief moment of defensive play that they're gonna have to do. So, basically, it's very hard to use it to initiate and get kills. Best used when comboed with another ultimate to do that, otherwise best used for zoning. So number 2, before I could initiate and play very aggressively to get picks and usually not go punished. However, around the second half of round 1, I play on high ground really passively, sometimes just standing still and waiting for an engagement. As I saw another player use this method. Is this the right way to play her? I seem to get punished every time I try to play on more open low ground / closer to the enemy, so I don't know how to place myself. This is a very common issue with D.Va players and Winston players, where they don't know what to do while they're waiting for an opportunity. Because D.Va and Winston are the same way, where they both have a naturally aggressive playstyle, but you can't always play aggressively because you need to actually wait for the opportunity to play aggressively. D.Va has the advantage of having range, which Winston doesn't have. D.Va's shotguns even go 10 meters before they actually start having fall-off damage, which is quite long, actually, for a shotgun when you think about it. And then she has the missiles as well. So, basically, like, every hero has, like, a flowchart for how you play them, basically. And D.Va, it's like, punish people on high ground. Those are the people who are naturally going to be the most isolated, because if Soldier goes up onto the high ground, like on fucking Gibraltar or something like that, outside the hangar door or on the second checkpoint, his whole team isn't going to go up there with him, right? He's going to at most have 1 or 2 people up there with him. That's fine. You can go up there as D.Va and just, like, burst that dude to death, because D.Va does, like, a lot of its, like, burst damage when you immediately fly up on someone. So if somebody's up on high ground, you go up there, you fight that person. He's going to be mostly by himself or totally by himself, very easy. After that, you burst people who are going, like, dive on people who are out of position or by themselves. This will usually be a DPS or a support. Sometimes it can be a tank, but it's pretty hard to burst a tank in a lot of situations. And then if you can't do either of those things, like there's nobody on high ground to contest and nobody is currently out of position, you just protect your team. And that's just like the part below that, basically, is How you protect your team is going to vary. If there's a Genji floating around, you're just going to make life difficult for him. You're going to peel for your supports, whatever. You're just going to be playing passively, protecting your team while you wait for situation 1 or situation 2. And D.Va has range. You can just, like, flick shots at people. You can try and hit them with your missiles from far away to get some ult charge. You can harass tanks to try and build up some ult charge. You can just flick shots at people's shields so they can't regenerate their shields, things like that. Basically, until somebody is out of position or there's somebody to contest, you're just killing time. However, you decide to kill time is gonna vary depending on what's happening. But usually you'll just kind of sit closer to your team and, like, block shots for people, peel for people, and do chip damage to people and poke at people when you get the opportunity. You're really just waiting for an opportunity. And then when you see an opportunity, you fucking dive on that motherfucker. This is the thing that D.Va has over Winston, right? Is D.Va, when she sees somebody out of position, she punishes that motherfucker hard. She dives on that person and she does a lot of fucking burst damage. You fly at that person with your missiles active, you're shooting at him, you punch him when you arrive, just like the booster's punch is like 55 damage. And then when you factor in, like, you were flying at them with your missiles, you're shooting them, you're gonna kill a 200 health target really quickly. D.Va does a lot of burst damage. So when you see somebody who is even just slightly by themselves, you can dive on that person and fuck them up. The trick then is getting back out again, because you have to wait for your boosters to actually get back out again. The defense matrix gives you some leeway. So, this has been a bit of a rambling point. So, yeah, you are gonna end up playing passively while you wait to see one of the opportunities come up, basically. And this is easier for D.Va than Winston because you do have some range to you, so you can kill time by doing chip damage and poking people, and peeling for your team as necessary, supporting your tank, blah, blah, blah. You're just killing time until you find somebody on the high ground to contest or somebody out of position. Or if someone starts using their ultimate as well, you'll typically just dive on that person. You see Soldier put on tac visor, you're gonna dive that motherfucker, basically, to fuck with him, usually. But if you can't initiate, just kill time somehow. Just wait. Don't be afraid to play passively. You can't play aggressively the entire time as D.Va or Winston. Some amount of the game is going to be just waiting, basically, for the opportunity. Then third question. Some target prioritization tips would be nice. Am I a sub-tank, more orientated towards protecting my Mercy, or a more divey hero looking to get picks on their Zen? I'd usually go for the latter, but because of how quickly I get punished and lose my mech, I'm quite lost on what to do. I remember you said in the past how D.Va is basically a main tank, but I can't seem to get the hang of that mentality. That used to be true when Defense Matrix was a better ability. And I mean, Defense Matrix is still a good ability, but they cut its duration in half, which means that D.Va doesn't have nearly the same amount of defensive ability that she used to have. So she's not really a main tank anymore. She's close, like she has main tank-esque features, but she isn't a very good main tank anymore after they nerfed Defense Matrix, because that pushed her in a much more aggressive direction. Because suddenly her defensive abilities got significantly worse, and she got this massive burst damage added to her as well. So she was pushed in a more aggressive direction, which doesn't really behoove a main tank usually. Main tanks have something, typically are defensive or a mixture of both, but D.Va is much more aggressive now than she is. She's not so good at being a main tank. We kind of already answered the question on target prioritization. If you see somebody out of position, you got someone to contest, you dive that fucker. Otherwise, you're going to be protecting your team and just kind of killing time, waiting, protecting your team. It is very hard to be a main tank as D.Va now. It can still work. Like, you can still do it in a pinch, because Defense Matrix is still a good defensive ability it's just a very short duration. And, D.Va's big. But body blocking is a feature in this game. You're a big girl, you can block shots for people with your body. So, if Genji's fucking trying to kill your Mercy, or Reaper's trying to kill your Mercy, you just stand between that person. Even if you don't have Defense Matrix, you're gonna block shots for them. And that's being a tank, you know. So, hard to be a main tank. You are more aggressive, but if you can't be aggressive at the time, just wait to see an opportunity. Kind of the same answer for the two questions in a way. And finally, a comment on how I manage my abilities, especially defense matrix and boosters, would be nice. I think I use them too liberally, leaving me stranded in some sticky situations. So, defense matrix is a much more skill testing ability now, because it has such a short duration. It's the sort of thing that having good familiarity with all the heroes in the game is going to be helpful for, because you kind of need to know what you're blocking. And when the enemy hero is going to be doing the most damage, right? So let's just assume that we're talking about fighting Tracer for the sake of argument. Tracer has a very clearly defined window in which she's going to be doing damage and when she's not going to be doing damage, because she spends a second firing and she spends a second reloading. So the idea is that you would hold the defense matrix over her while she is in her 1 second firing period, and then you take it down and do damage to her during her downtime period. If we're talking about Roadhog or Reaper, you can count their shots. Roadhog has got 5 shots, Reaper has got 8 shots. If you're fighting a Reaper, you hold defense matrix over him until you have blocked, you count the shots that he's made, and as soon as he has used enough shots that you don't think he can take you out of mech anymore, just start firing into him. And then as soon as when he's gonna, if you see him start reloading, take it down and start firing at him. Roadhog, same thing, count his shots. As soon as he's used 2 shots, he's not going to be able to take you out of mech anymore. Unless you're already really low or barring outside circumstance. Once he's used 2 shots, you can just start laying into him, and he's not going to kill you anymore. If you're fighting Orisa, you see her start reloading. She's reloading for a long-ass time. Take defense matrix down and start shooting at her. You need to know when the enemy hero is going to be doing damage, so you know when you need to be blocking, and then you need to know when you're taking it down to do damage yourself. And that varies from hero to hero. Like McCree, you're trying to block flashbang, because if he flashbangs you, he's going to take you out of mech. If you block the flashbang, he's probably not going to take you out of mech. You know, Hanzo, you're trying to block scatter arrow. These things. It depends on the hero as to how you're meant to be using defense matrix, and it's a very matchup dependent thing. You don't want to use it for no reason at all. It's a very finite resource, but it is a very high impact resource. So you do want to know why you're using defense matrix, and you want to have a good reason for using it. You don't want to just be putting it up for the sake of doing it, because it is a very high value resource. Boosters, there's a thing with boosters where you want to use as little of it as possible. And by that I mean you want to cancel it as soon as you're not using it anymore, because it's one of those abilities where the cooldown doesn't start until you've finished using the booster. So as soon as you have used enough of the booster to do whatever you were trying to do, you cancel it as soon as possible, because you want to get the cooldown going as quickly as possible. And with a movement ability, a difference of a second or 2 is a very big deal in a lot of situations. So you want to use as little of it you want to cancel it as soon as you're not using it anymore. If you're using it to close the gap, you cancel it as soon as you have gotten, as soon as you hit the person, you cancel it and hit them. You use the melee attack and cancel it. If you're using it to back up, as soon as you're in whatever position you think is safe, you just cancel it immediately. Try not to let it go the full duration unless you need to use the full duration, because you want to get the cooldown going as quickly as possible. The other reason you'll use boosters is to peel for people or to do burst damage, because if you boost into somebody and melee them, that is 55 damage. That's quite a lot. That's over a quarter of somebody's health, just barely, if they've got 200 health. So, if you're fighting somebody like Genji and you see them get to half health, you can use the boosters to do a big burst of damage on the last part and finish them off. You'll use it to knock people out of the way. You see Genji come in, he's gonna die, he pulls out Dragon Blade, dives on somebody, you fly at him, you push him back from the person, and suddenly it makes it a lot harder for him to actually kill the person he was diving, just fucking with his jive like that, and then if he doesn't kill that one person, he doesn't get to chain kills. So the knockback is very important in some situations like that to create space for your team. Otherwise, cancel it as soon as possible to get the cooldown going, and yeah, that's it, basically. The micro missiles are, there's a stat where if you hit every micro missile perfectly, you will charge up your ult in just 8 volleys of micro missiles, which is actually quite a short amount of time when you also consider you're generating ult charge from other means as well. So, you kind of want to use it as much as possible, but it is also important because you need it to burst somebody to death when you're punishing somebody for being out of position. So, if you don't think you're going to be using its micro-missiles soon, you just use them to heckle people. You use them to damage shields. D.Va's actually pretty good at damaging shields because of her shotguns and micro-missiles. So you use them to damage shields, you use them to just generate ult charge. But if you have a suspicion that a fight is going to start in the near future, or that you're kind of tracking somebody and you think they might stray off by themselves in the near future, you'll want to save it because you do need the micro-missiles to burst somebody to death. But otherwise, you're just kind of using them to generate ult charge and harass people. And that is all the questions from the email, so hopefully I answered those adequately. If you felt I answered them inadequately, please let me know, and I'll try to expand further. And now we are going to finally start the game. So we are defending. First, we've come out here to do some damage to them and then fly back. Hard to get punished for doing that as D.Va. So, I should have mentioned as well when using Defense Matrix, using it to correct other people's mistakes is a big thing, because I was just thinking about Roadhog, and it's like, D.Va makes Roadhog, like, completely fucks up Roadhog. It's so hard to get anything done as Roadhog versus a D.Va, unless you kill the D.Va first, so the Defense Matrix is also used to, like, fix other people's mistakes like that, similar to Zarya, but, again, a very finite resource. It's a very skill-testing ability, because you do have to use it at, like, the right time. Canceling ults is another thing, but I imagine that's quite self-explanatory. So, here comes Winston. So, in this situation, you can fuck with Winston as well with the knockback on your boosters. By the way, fun fact about D.Va and knockback, you're moving slower when you're firing your guns in mech, but you also have knockback resistance while you're firing your guns as well, so sometimes you want to cancel them to get moving faster, but strategic use of a little known fact, they actually have knockback resistance, so that's also kind of a thing. There's more fun fact than anything else. Anyway, so Winston is one of those heroes you can fuck with the knockback, because you can really fuck up where he's gonna land, basically. Because you see a Winston doing something like this, you can float up and just, like, knock him away, and you'll fuck up his landing, and you can still get back, because boosters last quite a while, so you can fuck up a Winston's engage with the knockback on the boost. And then you can push him away from the target that he's trying to kill, blah, 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 blah. So we're trying to go for the Mercy right now. The Mercy, not my concern right now, because she's currently in the air, so she's rather difficult to kill. Yeah, we'll do some damage to her, but we're never really going to pose a significant threat to her right now. I'm more concerned with the two tanks on the ground in front of us more than anything else right now. D.Va's good at fighting tanks. You got dual automatic infinite ammo shotguns. You can damage a tank pretty good. I'm more concerned with knocking this Winston's bubble down and trying to kill him. Because if we kill Winston, like, it's not that hard to do, because we can just, like, lay into his fat head hitbox and missile him, and we'll do a lot of damage to him. I'm more concerned with the tanks than the Mercy in that situation, because we're not likely to pose a significant threat to the Mercy, whereas the tanks, we can fuck them up. Or try to, anyway. D.Va, of course, a hero that we have to worry about as Mercy, I think I've fucked up every single part of this sentence. Pharah is a hero that we want to worry about as D.Va as well. Again, not a hero you're ever gonna kill, but you do want to, well, you will kill her sometimes, but typically you're just looking to harass her and make her play more passively from dropping her low. So, with this fight, like, they dive on us really quickly. We lost Winston really early in the fight, so that's gonna be an issue. Don't worry about the Mercy floating in the air. You're never really gonna threaten her in that situation. Focus more on fucking with the tanks in that situation, because you wanna try and create space for your team, because you're already losing ground, and you've lost your other tank. So if you leave your backline right now at that situation, they're completely on their own. You're still a tank. Protecting your team is your #1 priority. Even if you're an aggressive tank, protecting your team is still your #1 priority as a tank. So, if your other tank's dead, you gotta protect the backline as best you can. You can still fuck up a tank's day as D.Va because of how your weapons work, so don't worry so much about the Mercy you're just gonna harass. Just worry about the tanks in that situation. Try to, like, save your backline. So we did not manage to land up on there, which is unfortunate. So we're going to try again right now. Now we're up here. We've almost got self-destruct. That's cool. Honestly, like, I play a lot of D.Va. I've been playing a lot of D.Va, I should say, because playing Reinhardt's still hard. But D.Va's really good at punishing mistakes. The way I play is I'm basically when I've got self-destruct, I'm like, alright, this mech I'm currently in, entirely expendable. I'll now not afraid to suicide to try and kill somebody, because as long as I execute it correctly, I'll kill that fucker I dived on, and then I can use self-destruct to get another mech. Because they have to worry about the mech while trying to kill you. So as long as you pick the time to go in correctly, basically, if you dive in on somebody thinking that your mech is expendable because you have self-destruct, which I do very frequently because I like to kill people, I'm a very aggressive player. As long as it's a semi-open place, you're not going to be or some confined locations, it's not going to be too much of an issue, because the fear in that situation is you're going to die before you can get back in your mech. There's only like one way that really happens, and that's you did it right next to somebody that has hard crowd control. So you get, like, come out of your mech and then McCree flashbangs you and kills you. Or Roadhog hooks you and kills you. Or the other way it happens is there's somewhere they can see you from in cover from the self-destruct, but they can still shoot at you while being protected from the explosion. So as long as you pick your time and you don't do it right next to somebody who's very threatening when you come out of your mech, and you think about where you're standing so that, like, they can't just shoot at you from in cover after it's happened, you can think of your mech as being pretty expendable while you have self-destruct. And you can usually just dive in, kill the Mercy, the Zenyatta, or whatever, get in another mech after using self-destruct, and then just fly away again. I'm a very aggressive player, and in general, like, this is true of all heroes. If you want to get good, I firmly believe this, if you want to get good at any hero in the game, play way too aggressively. Just go all fucking in. And you're gonna go too aggressively, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get punished for it. That's okay, because as long as you learn from this, right? Because then you go in really aggressively and you think to yourself, fuck, I got punished really hard for that. So I'll kind of temper that aggression a little bit next time. And that's how you get, like, a good understanding of what your limits on that hero is. D.Va can be played extremely aggressively because of the buffer that she comes out of her mech when she dies. So if you just go way hard when you're playing D.Va, and yeah, you're gonna get punished for it. Just learn from that experience, and you'll get, like, a really good understanding of your limits. And D.Va's a very aggressive tank. Like, she is the most aggressive tank in my mind. Winston's also aggressive, but D.Va, like, kills people. Winston is mostly about disruption. D.Va is actively about killing people. She's very aggressive, so if you just play really aggressively, you're gonna get a good understanding of your limits, and you're gonna get really good at, like, pushing right up to those limits, and then killing people. So we have self-destruct right now, which is cool. It's another mech. Great. This has been a very rambling and incoherent video. I've been recording for 25 minutes. We're 3 minutes into the video. Oh, good times. So we're actually upset we're being healed right now because we're trying to hide up here. They're gonna know. This is not a terribly unusual location to be hiding. So, talking about using Defense Matrix efficiently, we're just kind of flicking it up at this Pharah randomly, no doubt planning to try and dodge the rockets. Genji is deflecting in front of us right now. Even if we get hit by a rocket, as D.Va, we're not that concerned about it. Like, Pharah's pretty bad at killing tanks, so we're not too concerned if we take a shot or two from Pharah. We can just take that time to lay into Pharah instead, because if we get shot once or twice, whatever, big deal. She's not gonna kill us. We can just leave if we're starting to get scared. Pharah's not gonna keep us there. So we can just lay into her during that period instead. If we're trying to block for the Genji, maybe, because he's low, that's a different issue, but he's deflecting in front of us right now, so he's fine. No need to worry about that. We can just lay into the Pharah and do damage to her there instead, and save duration on our, Defense Matrix. Because we've used our Defense Matrix not very efficiently up to this point. We'd used the whole duration and haven't gotten very much value out of it. We are unable to block the barrage right there. The barrage didn't end up doing very much, but that can very easily go poorly if we don't have any defense matrix in that position, and we didn't need to use it during the intervening periods right there. So, it's alright, didn't matter, look at this. Oh, we're gonna fend them off anyway. They're getting to use Dragon Blade. We had like a lot of ultimates, so it wasn't really a concern. Defending is very easy. You typically only need to use 1 or 2 ultimates to actually kill the attacking team's aggression, because it is very, very hard to push into the defending team at a numbers disadvantage. So, usually only 1 or 2 ults are needed for defenders, because you only need to kill 1 or 2 people. And with Mercy no longer being, I undo all mistakes, that it actually does just, like, stick now, which is a big deal. Although I see we're very committed to our team here, because we've got the Dynasty skin, which is the best skin out of all of the Overwatch League teams. It's the best skin on, like, every hero, isn't it? But the black and green one is also good. I don't know which one that belongs to offhand. We also have the Dynasty Tiger, so we're very committed to our team. Very, very supportive. Reinhardt over here, he's got fucking hideous armor on right now. You know, he's chosen an ugly team to support. So we're gonna pin him into the corner and fuck him up. Just like we do in the streets in England. So you support the wrong team? We're gonna take you in that dark alleyway and you're not gonna have a good time. So we use self-destruct here basically just to get another mech. It looks like it does kind of fuck. There's people pushing him as well, so it does like fuck with their aggression. Hello, my cat. You've come at a very poor time. Hold on, let me adjust my table slightly. No, you can do it. There you go. There's awful noises all around. Get your tail out of the way, my boy. Oh, production value. Yeah. So we use self-destruct to basically get another mech, and we did sort of kill their aggression as well. That's fine. Self-destruct is a middling ultimate, so it's not, you can just use it to get another mech, and that's quite often a perfectly fine use of self-destruct, honestly. So now we're sitting back up here, we're waiting again, this is fine. Pharah comes over and tries to poke at people from up here again, we can harass them. We can get in on people really quickly, and it's hard for them to punish us for being up here. So they've started this fight, and they've immediately lost Zenyatta as they start the fight, which is bad for them, obviously. So we're fighting Reaper right here, right now. We've got full defense matrix, so this is actually not that hard of a fight for us right now, because Reaper's also not full health. So we can drop down in front of him right here, just hold defense matrix over him right now, and again, we just, like, watch him. We don't know exactly how many shots he's got in his gun right now. It's alright, we can just hold it over him, wait until we see him start reloading, and then take it down, lay into him. And even if he takes us out of mech, we're still gonna kill him, and that's perfectly fine at that point, because they've already had lost Zenyatta by that point. So if we also kill Reaper, even if it costs us our mech, it's no big deal. We've taken another person out of the fight, they don't win the fight at that point. So we could have actually killed that Reaper. We were afraid that he was going to take us out of mech and kill us, probably. No, we could just stay there and fight him. We had full defense matrix, we had plenty of things to work with right there. Reaper is kind of scary, because Reaper's good at killing tanks, but you count shots, you wait till you see him reloading, and then you just lay into him. I don't know offhand how many shots it takes for Reaper to take you out of mech. This is something we can roughly work out right now. Reaper stats. We're doing research right here live. So we want to know roughly how many shots it's going to take for Reaper to take us out of mech. To do that, we need to know roughly how much damage he is going to do to us. So he does 2 to 7 damage per pellet, and he fires 20 per shot. So if we assume no fall off damage at all, he's fucking touching us, it takes him, we've got 600 health in mech, that takes him, assuming all the pellets hit, and no fall off damage, that's about 4 or 5 shots? I'm not very good at math, and I'm trying to do it in my head right now. No, that doesn't say, no, yeah, that's like 4 or 5 shots to take us out of mech. So as soon as we've seen him fire 4 times, assuming I'm not fucking up this math really badly, which is quite entirely possible, we can, As soon as we see him fire 4 times, we can start laying into him, because he probably won't take us out of mech at that point. And that's assuming we come at him he's full ammo as well. In that situation, he probably doesn't have full ammo at that point, because he's already taken some damage. He's been shooting at somebody, probably. There goes the cat. I've probably, like, fucked up that math really badly. It's alright, you can do the math. You can do the math instead. The entire point of that exercise is you want to know roughly how many shots it's going to take for Reaper to take you out of mech. And that dictates how many shots you want to block with Defense Matrix. Doesn't matter if I got the math wrong, you can do the math correctly instead. That's the thinking behind it, is I need to know how many shots I need to block. And, fortunately, we live in a world where we have empirical data, so we can figure it out. So we have jumped down behind them right now, and we're using Defense Matrix just kind of wildly in this fight. We end up not actually blocking anything because we're holding it over Winston basically the whole time. We basically went in without like a very firm plan, it looked like. We just kind of like jumped down and started doing stuff. D.Va, you know, any hero that's aggressive, you need to know what you're doing when you go in. People like Tracer can kinda ad-lib it because they're very mobile, so you can kinda go in without a firm plan. Someone like D.Va, you need to know what you're gonna do when you get in, because you're a very big hero, and you're very easy to kill if you don't have your ability, so you need to know, like, what you're doing when you go in. So they started this fight. It's alright, we got res, so we get to get back in our mech even though we kind of got picked off. And they didn't really have any, like, all-star ults to take us out with, and we're on Temple of Anubis second checkpoint. Even if they even if they came in with, like, 4 ultimates, there's no guarantee that they're gonna actually fucking win the fight, because our spawn is so fucking close. So we have self-destruct. We still have a bunch of ultimates. Genji's got Dragon Blade, and their Reaper just died right now, so they've got a lot of waiting to do right now before they can start pushing again. So we look at their team right now. And what we really want to think when we look at the team as D.Va is we're like, alright, so who am I, like, watching for? Because we're looking to punish people who are out of position, and we're looking to protect our team as well. So their team is kind of hard to punish. The only person we'll be able to dive on and reliably kill if we see them in out of position is Zenyatta. Now, the rest of his team is very dive-centric, because he's got 2 dive tanks, Reaper and Genji. Zenyatta is going to find himself by himself quite frequently, so if we're keeping an eye out for Zenyatta, we think, alright, he's what I'm looking for, because he's probably going to be by himself a lot. We can dive on him as soon as we see him out of position. But then we also need to think, alright, so I still need to protect my team until I see that happen. So we've got to be looking for Reaper, mostly, because he's probably going to be the one who's trying to sneak up behind our team. And we're better at countering Reaper than we are at countering Genji as D.Va. So we want to be looking for Reaper and Genji as well, to fuck with them. And while we're doing that, and then while we're keeping an eye out for them, we're also keeping an eye on Zenyatta, because he's the one that we're expecting to be able to punish for being out of position. Because the rest of his team is probably going to dive in and leave him behind, so if we see an opportunity, we can dive on him, but the rest of the time we're just kind of waiting around, fucking with people like Genji and Reaper. So Zenyatta's currently using his ultimate, which does indeed make things very difficult. Reaper is going over there. Like, we want to get in there at this point. Like, they're going in. They're going to go in with Transcendence. Now, we have self-destruct, and it's good for tempering the enemy team's aggression. If we don't feel confident taking this fight right now, what we can do is we can just drop self-destruct in the path that they're going to go through, and they're like, well, Transcendence is a lot of fucking healing, but it doesn't stop me from getting one shot. So they kind of have to respect self-destruct, and it's going to kill off some of their aggression, basically. But if we're not that concerned about it, we got a bunch of ultimates, whatever, Transcendence isn't the best ultimate to go in with. We still want to get in on this Reaper right now, because he's going in our backline, and we don't want them dead. And we're kind of like, we're doing a lot of nothing over here right now. We're probably waiting for, like, the perfect self-destruct play. We should just be in there fucking with Reaper. We spent a lot of time during that fight just doing nothing. And we almost worst feeling in the world when you come out of your mech right as the other mech explodes. Overwatch is this way where you always want to be doing something. If you're waiting to do if you're waiting around like that, you have to be pretty sure your plan is going to work, and you have to be pretty confident you're going to get a big result out of it. Like, if you're playing Soldier, doesn't get in that position, but if you're playing Soldier, like, and you see the enemy team push past you, you might think, alright, I'm in a position where if I wait, I can tack visor behind them and, like, kill a bunch of them really quickly. Self-destruct, we already established, is kind of like rolling a dice when it comes to killing people. We should just be in there making sure Reaper doesn't kill our team. Reaper killed a bunch of people. We were we were far away, but we had our boosters. We can get over there, hold defense matrix over him, make it difficult for him to kill people, and then maybe this fight doesn't go so badly, because Reaper set up a lot of this. Reaper actually got most of the kills that set this up. So if we fuck with him at the start of the fight, maybe this doesn't go quite this badly. I mean, it's still 2 CP, so, like, it doesn't go disastrously or anything like that. But we could have made that fight smoother by just fucking with Reaper, because as we've established, we're waiting for Zenyatta to be out of position so we can punish him. Otherwise, we're fucking with Reaper and Genji. Zenyatta's using Transcendence, can't punish him. We just fuck with Reaper and Genji. Difficult to use self-destruct to get kills. Just go fuck with people, rather than waiting for that kind of play. So, a lot of things currently happening right now. But it's alright. Junkrat did all the work for us. We built up self-destruct, so it was probably not going to be that much of an issue. They used all of their ultimates in the previous fight, so, you know, they got a couple of them, but they didn't have any big money ultimates to use on that fight. We had a bunch of ultimates, so it was going to be very difficult for them to win that fight, especially when the 2 CP effect is also in place as well. And we have gold guns on D.Va as well. Like, we're decked out right now. So, we are now attacking. So, this is a map where the enemy team are going to probably be taking advantage of high ground because, you know, they can stand back there, they can stand over there. So, flowchart, high ground. Contesting people on high ground is always going to be something you do more actively on attack because defenders are usually the ones abusing high ground. Not always. Sometimes attackers are abusing high ground, but typically you're going to spend more time contesting high ground as an attacker than you are a defender. So we want to be looking at the high ground thinking, do I need to try and make my way over there to contest them? And depending on the answer, like yes or no, we're either trying to do that or we're just going back to the previous thing where we're looking to punish people out of position and just protect our team while we come in. So here's Genji. He's behind us with Harmony Orb on him and very far away, so not really our concern right now. There's Zenyatta, just died. Very, very good sign. Unfortunately, Mercy actually got to res the person. So somebody was over there on high ground. It was Soldier. He's on low ground now, so less of a concern for us. So, when you're fighting a Genji, like this, just push him away from you, because a Genji just, like, flipping around you point blank like this is very more disorientating for you than it is for the Genji. Like, if you just, like, just push him away from you, like, you're probably not gonna kill the Genji in that situation, and he's just gonna farm a lot of ult charge off of you. Either just leave or, like, push him away. Just, like, tell him, fuck off, I don't want to deal with this. Because you're probably not gonna kill him, he's probably gonna build up ult charge off of you. Like, you just kinda wanna be out of that situation. Unless he's fucking with your backline, like right there, it looks like he might go for Mercy, so we go back and fight him. If it's just you fighting the Genji, just leave, just, like, push him away, try and kill him if you can, but, like, there's probably something more productive you can do with your time than try and kill Genji. So, we've floated back up right now. That's their soldier over there, correct? Yes, that's their soldier over there right now. So we float up away from the, Reinhardt. Honestly, like, I go in on the soldier right there, because we're still healthy enough. We got all our abilities. He's just used Helix Rocket. He kind of needs that if he's gonna kill you, because otherwise he needs to shoot you for a while. He might have Biotic Field, but, like, it's a 15-second cooldown, and, like, look how this fight's been going. He's probably put it down somewhere. We might have also seen him do it at some point, but I didn't notice. Like, honestly, I go in on the soldier on there, because he's put himself over in a position where he's mostly by himself. And as we established earlier, we're trying to kill people who are by themselves, which we're good at doing. Even Soldier, like, you can kill him through Biotic Field if you've got all of your abilities, because you just do burst damage to him. We were healthy enough we could go for it. He just used Helix Rocket, so he's probably not going to take us out of mech. We could have gone for him. which is, rather than backing up on the high ground out of the way of, Reinhardt. We're also generally not super scared of Reinhardt as D.Va, because Reinhardt is this way, where he doesn't kill any tank unless he pins the tank, basically. This is not always true. Sometimes he kills the tank without pinning the tank, but, like, if, Reinhardt is just, like, right there, swinging into you, lay into that fucker. Like, just, like, lay into him. You'll kill him before he kills you. He needs to pin you if he's gonna take you out of mech. And then if he takes you out of mech, you are fucked. Like, you are fucked. But he needs to pin you to take you out of mech. It's not usually a super big concern if it's Reinhardt there swinging at you, because you'll do more damage to him than he will to you. So, right here, this was something I noticed earlier that I did want to make note of. So we use our boosters here for very little reason, because we're gonna kill her regardless. Like, you know, sometimes we do want to do, like, boost to punch to do the burst damage. No need to do it to Zarya right there. She's gonna die. So we use the boosters not super well there, and that basically leads to Genji being more awkward, because now we have to wait an extra half second for our boosters, and by the time we get up here, he's picked up the health kit. Whereas if we just had the boosters, we could follow him up there immediately, fuck him up before he gets to the health kit. And he used Dragon Blade. He fucked up the Dragon Blade. Like, it wasn't a good play. But there's definitely a world where him getting to use Dragon Blade right there wins the fight instead of still losing the fight. So, no need to use the boosters to finish Zarya right there, because she's dead. Don't need burst to do her right there. You can just save it for that kind of situation instead. So, now we are attacking the second checkpoint, the much harder one to fight. So we see they have a Roadhog. Roadhog is a big deal right now, because we are playing D.Va, so we have to be paying attention to him as well. This is the thing with playing aggressive heroes or tanks, is you kinda got a lot of things going around in your mind, right? Because we're thinking to ourselves right now, okay, high ground, not much of a thing on the second checkpoint for Anubis, so we can kind of scratch that off of the, flowchart of things that we're worrying about. We are still worrying about picking people off and punishing people for it being out of position. We're still trying to protect our backline from Genji, if necessary. And now we also have to worry about keeping an eye on Roadhog as well, because we can completely negate his hook, because we can always hold defense matrix over the hook and stop him from killing that person. So now we have to pay attention to that. We're still looking for people to bully around when they're out of position, and we're still looking to just generally protect our backline from flankers if necessary. Now, they have a lot of tanks, which is, like, honestly, like, that's fine for D.Va, because she can fight tanks. She's not overly concerned about that. There's the train of thought that you should use self-destruct if you're in the Graviton, because it can buy you time in the Graviton. I don't subscribe to that train of thought, because it's so easy to die in the Graviton anyway. Don't do that. I've seen people give that as legitimate advice, to use it to zone if you get caught in the Graviton. You usually just die in the Graviton anyway. I don't know why people go around spreading those lies. So, this is the point where you don't use self-destruct, because you've lost this fight. Like, they used a bunch of ultimates, they really fucked up our aggression, you just save self-destruct in that position, because it's not gonna get anything done, probably. And it didn't. And now we just don't have self-destruct. Self-destruct is a fairly quick-to-charge ultimate, because you are usually doing a fair bit of damage as D.Va, and it charges relatively quickly. I don't know the exact numbers on this one, but it's a pretty fast ultimate. So we've got Narissa now. It's really awkward. Like, we have an awkward setup of tanks right now. I find Narissa is this way, where she works really well in specific situations, but otherwise she is, like, not that good. People trying to sell me that she's some kind of Swiss Army knife tank. Fucking very much not so. People just see her on the pirate ship and they're like, fucking Orisa, man! Like, you know, actually, you can kind of just roll over in a lot of situations. Anyway, so, they currently still have a lot of tanks. This is not a concern for us as D.Va, because we can fight tanks. See the hook come past, he didn't hook anybody, no concern for us. Like, our team is awful at doing what we're doing right now, which is like pussyfooting around this choke point. We really don't want to be doing this. Now, our other tank at this point is Orisa. Orisa's going to be with our backline. This gives us less concern for our backline, because If it's Winston, that's the other tank, yeah, we kind of got to keep an eye on the backline as well, because Winston's not always going to be protecting them. Orisa is basically always going to be with our team, because, like, when is she, what's she going to do? She's not going to suddenly gain a movement ability. So now, that takes some of the pressure off of us for, guarding our team. So now, we can focus more on just playing aggressively. So instead of just kind of hanging around here, hovering around the choke point, kind of just filling space, we can be more actively looking for an opportunity to attack people. Because it's hard for us to die as D.Va, right? Like, as long as we don't use our abilities stupidly, they're probably not going to kill us. They need to, like, do a lot of damage to us very quickly. So, it's hard to kill D.Va. So we can spend our time now, like, we can come around, poke around the left side, poke around the right side, kind of like, looking for opportunities. Because if we come around the right-hand side, for argument's sake, and we kind of hover around, like, the podium you can jump up onto, the wall you can jump up to, it's not a podium, and we see that their Mercy starts straying backwards because she's, like, backing away from, like, some trash damage coming in from Orisa or something like that, and she suddenly backs up, we can go in on her right there. So, you know, that's not necessarily super likely to happen, especially since, you know, we're in a pretty high SR. People are gonna probably be paying attention to us, but because Orisa's here, she's going to be guarding our backline, we don't have to worry about it so much. Now we can more proactively be looking to play aggressively, because the defensive component is being taken care of by somebody else at this point. Orisa's probably not going to suddenly run off and leave the backline behind, because she's a slow hero. We can go and look for opportunities more actively in that situation. Also, when you're on attack, you usually can, because it's pretty unlikely that the defenders are going to be coming out flanking your backline. So you tend to have more freedom to look for aggressive plays when you're attacking as opposed to defending. So we got caught in the Graviton again. She built up the Graviton quite quickly, actually. We use Self-Destruct right here, kills Mercy, great. Basically also gets us another mech with the bonus of killing Mercy as well. Zenyatta's just come out of Transcendence. We really want to fuck this boy up. We get into a bit of an awkward scuffle with him in the corner, but he is the one that we want to try and kill in that situation, because we kill both their healers. That is usually a free fight, but we are on a 2CP map, so, you know, it's awkward. Lost our mech. It's alright, Winston's doing that. We get to farm up a lot of ult charge off of him. We get back in our mech very quickly. Try to boost Lucio, bump Lucio off. Unfortunately, Zarya blocks for him. Very unfortunate. Here comes Big Boy Reaper. I mean, I guess he's a big boy version of Reaper, technically. We float, like, way the fuck away. We want fucking out of this situation. Granted, by this point, like, we're kind of low. Mercy's healing us. We get healed up. We are, like, back and way... Oh, wait, we heard the tire as well. Is that also what we were doing? Fair enough. Fair enough. That's why we're also going, no, Mercy. Okay, I didn't hear the tire because I'm also talking. Never mind. Disregard. So, we lost that fight. 2CP map. Had some ultimates. We didn't get big whammy plays in there, which is... Ooh, very scary when the hook comes right in front of you. We didn't get any big whammy 6-man kill play, so... You know how 2CP maps are. Now we gotta wait for our team. We've almost got self-destruct again. Their team has 3 tanks on it, so that makes it very easy for us to build up ult charge very quickly. So, right now, I was hoping to catch on when we looked at the team right there. Come on. Oh, God. Oh, we done it. All right. So now we look at this team again, and we want to think roughly what we're trying to do right now, because it's important that we understand what we're trying to do in a game. This is also more of an issue, like, this is not something I usually anguish over in with lower SRs, but like, we're high SR right now, so we have to be trying our absolute hardest right now to actually win games usually. So we need to know roughly what we're trying to do, right? Because that gives us some idea of what our game plan is. So we look at the enemy team and we think to ourselves, all right, who can I bully right now? So typically you want to bully around the supports. They've got Mercy and they've got Lucio. Lucio is hard to bully, so we write him off. He's too difficult to kill. You can kill him, but like, he's going to be an issue, so we don't worry about that right now. If we've got nothing better to do, we try and kill him. So we want to try and kill Mercy. We also want to kill Junkrat. Now here's the thing with their current team composition. They are a very low damage team, because they've only got Junkrat, and they got Roadhog. They're the highest damage heroes. Zarya can be if she's high charge, but that's a conditional modifier, so we're not overly concerned about it. She's also going to have a hard time building charge versus our team, because we have 2 flankers as DPS right now, so she's going to have a hard time, like, finding charge. So, if we can kill Junkrat, that makes their team that makes it way harder for their team to actually get anything done, because at that point, the only person on their team that actually does damage is Roadhog. Zarya can if she's high charge, but again, conditional modifier, we're not overly concerned about that one. If we kill this boy, we should win the fight, because it'll be very hard for them to kill us at that point. Now, we do have 2 flankers, so Winston might make it more difficult, but at the same time, Orisa, she's going to be chewing into that boy, and they're going to be going in super hard with Lucio as well. We're a very divey team right now, but also with an Orisa on our team, so it's, it's a little bit awkward. But so our concern right now is we're trying to get these 2. And, if we can get Mercy, that's great. If we can get Junkrat, that's also great, because that'll make it really hard for them to kill our team, because then they're very low damage boys. So, that's what we're really worried about right now. Again, we got Orisa, so we don't really have to worry about guarding Mercy. And the other people on our team, we don't need to babysit them. They're flankers and Lucio. They're going to be fine. We don't need to sit with them. So defensive aspect, completely removed because of our team comp. We don't have to worry about it. We can basically entirely focus on trying to get these 2. And we do also want to keep an eye on Roadhog, because again, we do want to, if we see him hook somebody, we gotta shut that shit down. And then he doesn't get to do anything either. But right now, we're looking for these 2. That's what we're trying to do right now. That's like how we win the fight. As D.Va, anyway. It's important to understand what you're trying to do in the game, because you need to know what you're doing. If you're just sitting around waiting for opportunities to come to you, that's not always enough. Especially in higher SR, where people are generally going to be making less mistakes, theoretically anyway. So you need to be trying to create opportunities at the same time, especially if you're an aggressive hero. People in general are too afraid to go out and try to make something happen. When you get in higher SR, you do have to try and make stuff happen. You have to look for, like, tiny little gaps, and you have to try and make gaps as well. So you need to know what you're trying to do. And right now we're trying to kill them. So we just chuck our ultimate in, we roll the dice, it comes up, we get Zarya. Great. Zarya's alive again. Didn't really work out. That's we talked about this already at the start, so I'm not going to belabor that point. Especially since, currently up to 54 minutes of recording. Some of that was, like, pre-stuff, which I'll cut out, but, like, fuck, this is a long video. We're talking about more intangible things, and, there were a lot of questions that had, long answers to them. So, we're currently in. I've been distracted talking about my own ass. So, here we're going in again. We got the supercharger behind us, great. Roadhog very much saved their Mercy right there, so I doubt it was intentional that he saved her, but he did save her, so that's very upsetting right there. Now she gets to use Valkyrie. It's not the end of the world, it's not, old Valkyrie, as far as I know. But, fight's not going super well. Supercharger is generally not enough, so is no great surprise that fight didn't work out. Now, we've almost got self-destruct. We got sound barrier. Now we got a Pharah instead of a Tracer. Honestly, like, Reaper's the best thing that she could pick right now. They got a lot of tanks, and they're all tanks that Reaper can fight, right? Like, they're all tanks that Reaper can just kind of get up on. And then, he's got to worry about Junkrat. You can walk around Junkrat. That's no big deal for Reaper. Whatever. So, Lucio has just killed Lucio, which is unusual, but Lucio's alive again now. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. I'm still not on board. We did it. If Genji didn't die, it might have worked out, because we could, he could use Dragon Blade while they're trying to avoid the self-destruct. Unfortunately, he died, so he didn't get to use Dragon Blade. And then we get caught in the Graviton. That's a fight ender right there. You get caught in your Graviton. So, Genji's now changed to Reaper. Fantastic news. They now have a Symmetra instead of a Roadhog. So, that's an interesting decision that they've made right there. So now we can just really focus on killing the Mercy and the Junkrat, because now we don't even have to worry about Roadhog. That's a really bad switch. That's a real, like, that's an awful decision that he made right there. He should not have done that. That's like the worst thing he could have done. I don't know, like, why did he do it? Like, what prompted that? Like, it has to be tilts? When they're winning? Like, it's very... I don't understand. He should not have done that. So we've heard the tire. We came looking for Junkrat. We actually didn't see him. He was behind the corner just slightly. Not the end of the world that we didn't get him. So we've lost somebody right now. This is very much the worst time to lose somebody. If he was to fuck up Genji? I don't know. Like, really weird. So, Pharah's just made big plays. Pharah has just killed their entire team. And now there's just a Symmetra hopping around. We've now killed Symmetra. We win the game.
Oh shit, we made it!
I don't know. We were all very surprised that we made it. We were even down a person. Pharah won the game. Like, Pharah just killed their entire team. Like, against all odds. Pharah managed to kill their entire... I guess they don't have anything that can really kill Pharah quickly, so that makes sense. But this is probably it. Yep, this is it. This is play of the game. Pharah won the game. Yeah, just lays into him. Oh, Mercy shouldn't have done that. Yeah, there's like not much they can do about it. If only Symmetra was still playing Roadhog. No Barrage. See, I seen him change to Symmetra, and I knew the outcome of the game, and I was like, I know we win. That's probably why it happens. Yeah, like, if they had, some way to stop Pharah, that doesn't happen, because Pharah did just win the game, right there. I just don't know why he did it. Like, he has to have basically been like, fuck Genji, right? Like, that has to have been the thought process behind it, but like, that was not the correct decision. That was very, it's very puzzling to me that happened. Because I don't... People do stupid shit, don't they? Alright, anyway. So, this has already been a long enough video, and we've talked at everything at length, so I'm not going to belabor any points further now. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered any questions from the email inadequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. Come join our Discord. If you haven't already, you can ask me questions more directly. We can shitpost. That's mostly what we do over there. Occasionally we talk about stuff, but we do a lot of shitposting. Come hang out. Ask questions more directly, and I hope you found the video helpful.